Locked in my decision to have a collision with my purpose. It is my assignment to be in alignment with my purpose. I'm locked in, going all out, no fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, I'm all yours. Locked in, going all out, no fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, your will, your will. Locked in my decision to have a collision with my purpose. It is my assignment to be in alignment with my purpose. Have a collision with purpose, 'cause you know that you're worth it, and your dream is worth capturing. If I'm not living on purpose, then none of it is worth it. My assignment is uplifting souls for the King, souls for the King, souls for the King.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to In the Spotlight. This is the home of unfiltered conversations where real talk is what we do. I am none other than Dr. Donna L. Thompson.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Laxley Stevenson, and together we are your moderators. But as Donna preferred to say, she is your fearless moderator. Hi, Donna. How are you?
I am well this evening, Dr. Stevenson. And how are you doing on this Monday evening?
As I always say to you, I'm here, so I'm doing great just to be here, just to be present. Earth. It's just an awesome thing. I'm thankful, I'm grateful, because I know as long as I'm alive, the possibilities are endless.
Absolutely. I 100% second that.
All right, so we're on the same accord. So what's going on with you? What's happening? What's new?
Oh my gosh. It's Monday. It's the beginning of a new week. It already started off pretty high impact. So, I'm quite sure there's a lot of excitement coming up for the rest of the weekend. Like everything else, I'm grateful, to be here another Monday evening, to be here with you. And of course, all our audience that's watching us, right? But just looking forward to a very productive week. So I'm happy for the week ahead.
And, well, let's welcome anyone out there watching us, right? You're watching In the Spotlight, the home of raw and filtered information, as Donna likes to put it, because we don't leave anything on the table around here. But Donna, is life fragile? Let's talk about the fragility of life.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, life is, it really is so fragile. 1 minute you're here, the next minute or the next second, not even minute, the next second, you just don't know how your life may change. So it's very fragile. And, with that is so important, right? To make sure you're spending, or all of us really, we're spending quality time with our loved ones, and meaningful quality times with our loved ones, and just never take the moment for granted. Just don't take your time for granted, because it can change within a second.
As you're talking about spending quality time with loved one, I'm wondering how many of us are spending quality time with ourselves. For me, that's the piece right there. Spending quality time with yourself. You know, we don't take care of ourselves as we ought to, as we should. You know, we are out there busy, busy, busy getting things done. Some of it is not even worth getting done, I should add.
So true.
But what are we doing to take care of us? And that's something I want us to pay more attention to. So if you're watching, if you're listening to us right now, take some time out, look in the mirror and say, I'm going to do better for me. I'm going to be more compassionate. You know, they have a thing they call self-compassion. I'm going to kindness, kind to self. We're going to exercise a little bit more of that, because how can you love another person if you can't love yourself, if you can't be kind to yourself? So you're the perfect guinea pig to practice on. Practice on yourself. Practice loving yourself. Practice kindness to self. So anyway, enough of that. That is that. Let's talk a little bit about a collision with purpose. We have a big something coming up. You want to talk about the colloquium a bit?
Yeah. So we know, we're our second year is right around the corner, February 22nd at Shiloh High School. We'll be having the colloquium again. It will be on a Saturday. You know, doors open at 5. We begin at 6 p.m. sharp, but, come at 5 so that you can kind of network and talk to each other, meet people and mingle and see what's going on. But overall, the colloquium, it's going to be this year. Last year was really great for our first year, but this year it's going to even be that much better. I'm not certain how we're, it's so interesting because last year was so good and we got such great feedback. But with what we have on the agenda for 2025, it's even so much more impactful that, anyone that's out there, you definitely want to be there. Of course, we will be honoring, our members of our communities that's just doing the work, humanitarian work, and we want to honor those individuals and, give them their flowers while they're here and let them know how thankful we are for the work that they're doing and to encourage them, right, to continue doing what they're doing. And of course, we're going to have scholarships for students. You want to make sure that you're in that theater, because in order for you to get your scholarship fund, you need to be there. So you want to make sure that you're there. We're going to have a raffle going on. We're going to have entertainment. We're going to have a phenomenal guest from across the pond, like Dr. Stephenson like to say, across the pond. It's a very big pond, but we're going to have, a great guest that will be joining us as well at the colloquium. And, it's just an evening of really networking. And also I'd like to tell individuals that just come empty, like you have a vessel and just there's nothing in it. Just come empty and be prepared to be filled with knowledge, inspiration, motivation, and really having a totally different mindset when you leave there. Don't come with preconceived notions or expectations, but know that when you arrive, when you're there during the event, it is going to be life-changing. And once you leave, you're going to leave with a totally different mindset as far as what you're doing with your life, if you're on the right path or not. And of course, we're going to have the book launch, Daily Insights, which I'm telling you, it's just going to be impactful. So I would just make sure that I have a seat in that room, to be honest with you. If you're out there listening, this is something that you definitely want to be a part of. And you don't want to be the person where you're hearing about it from your friends or your family, like some people experience, right? The first event. You don't want to have someone else tell you about the experience. You want to experience it for yourself.
Right. So you talk about having a guest speaker from somewhere in Africa. We're also having a guest speaker from Jamaica. Very powerful individual who is speaking. He's doing some amazing work in Jamaica. In fact, we have two coming from Jamaica. We have honorees coming from California, from here in Atlanta, New York. I don't know if we have any coming from Canada this time, but it's packed. It's packed. It's loaded. We have musicians coming in from New York. We have local musicians here. We'll have some poetry. We'll have some reading. You yourself, Donna, you're going to be telling a story from Daily Insights Unveiled. What's the topic you're going to be talking about?
Well, it's so funny because the topic that I'm really going to be speaking about is just like what we just kind of touched on earlier. It's really about time. Your how valuable your time is and time spent, the fragility of time, right? And that's what I'm really going to be presenting at the colloquium as well.
Right. All right. Awesome. Now we have a guest backstage. We don't want to keep her waiting because she's got a compelling story to share with us tonight. In fact, many stories. It helps that she is part Jamaican, right? What does that mean? She's involved with she's doing many things, right? So she's going to be talking about some of the things that she's involved with. But before we go there, is there anything else you want to share about the work we're doing here at A Collision with Purpose? Specifically, you want to talk a little bit about the Elizabeth Satawa Cancer CBO?
Yeah, sure. So, the Elizabeth Satawa Cancer community-based organization, of course, that started, with, Elizabeth, who is a dear friend of ours, who currently is fighting. She's battling ovarian cancer. And it came fitting to actually, come up with a community-based organization to support members of the community, specifically there in Kenya, who they're suffering cancer. And it's not specific to ovarian cancer, it's just any type of cancer at all, right? So the CBO was created. It's registered. It is a registered CBO, so it is official. All the legalities, financial, everything, all the paperwork, the foundation, the constitution is well written, the vision, the mission. So it's very, very solid, a very solid foundation that started where with donations and members support, we will be able to assist members in the community, individuals in the community and their family and children who are suffering from cancer. Try to help to bridge some of those gaps, nutritional needs, possibly palliative care and, medical care and taking care of the children while their parents is going through, this illness. So really the CBO is really community-based to help those individuals in the community, on their journey of this illness.
Wow. Big stuff.
So we're asking for members, we're looking for individuals who, you're interested, you may have been impacted by someone who has cancer, a friend found, actually, to be honest with you, I don't know if there's anyone in this world right now, unless you're under a rock, to be honest with you, that you have not heard of someone who has suffered from some form of cancer, whether it's personal, a friend of a friend or something. It's such a vast disease that I don't know of anyone who hasn't heard that word and how devastating and how life-changing that is.
Wow. All right. So the Elizabeth Satawa Cancer Community-Based Organization, or CBO as we prefer to call it. We're looking for members to join. We will put that out there real soon. All right. So let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll be bringing on our guest of the hour for the evening. And we're going to be talking big stuff over there. So let's become iron a bit. Okay.
All right.
Of hearts that strive through fire and flame, they find their way, becoming iron where courage holds sway. Becoming iron, and with hearts forged in fire, tales of courage and conviction rising even higher, displaying strength in the fiercest fight, becoming iron, shining in the night. Faces the darkest night, the empowerment fights with the
fights with all his might. The resilient man stands unwavering and strong. The inspired man knows where he belongs. Becoming iron knows where he belongs. Becoming iron, shining in the night. Becoming iron, with hearts forged in fire. Tales of courage and conviction, rising even higher. Displaying strength in the fiercest fight. Men becoming iron, shining in the night. The brave man faces the darkest night. The empowered man fights with all his might. The resilient man stands unwavering and strong, shining in the night. And the tales of old and the battles new. Convictions light sees them through. From abysses deep to the morning light. They becoming iron in the endless fight. Becoming iron with hearts forged in fire. Tales of courage and conviction, rising even higher. Displaying strength in the fiercest fight. Men becoming iron, shining in the night. In the tales of old and the battles new. Convictions like season through. From abysses deep to the morning light. They become iron in the endless fight. They become iron in the endless fight. In the tales of old and the battles new. Convictions like season through.
All right. How about that? Men becoming iron, shining in the night. From abysses deep to the morning light. Men becoming iron. Big stuff there.
Yeah.
Coming soon. We'll be making that announcement at our colloquium. We'll be talking more about that. All right, Donna. So let's do what we do. Let's bring on our guests.
All righty. So we have a special guest with us this evening. I'm just gonna give us a little bit of a background about her, because she's definitely gonna tell us all about herself. She's doing so much great work. So she is actually an adjunct professor, and she is an author. She has published several children's books, and which it's actually the name of her children's books is Little London and Brown Children's Books, but there are several series to the books. So really, really great stories there. And she is actually a registered yoga teacher, which is quite interesting, and the creator of LSX Yin Yoga and Wellness Company. So I am excited to hear more all about that yin yoga. I know I've heard about like the hot yoga thing, but I've never heard about yin yoga. So I'm excited to hear about that. But without further ado, we're going to bring on our guest, Miss Latoya Stephenson-Smith. More drum roll. And here she is.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well, thank you. I'm blessed. I can't complain. Yeah. How are you two?
We are
Awesome. I know one word. Awesome.
Awesome.
So good to see you. By the way, Donna, we should say welcome back.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me back on. Really appreciate it. So, it's definitely an honor to be talking to you two and your audience again. So yeah, very excited to be here.
Oh, Little London and Brown.
Little London. Yeah.
I'm from Little London in Jamaica.
Yeah. So yeah, we talked about that. The fact that I am, originally from Miami. I was born in Miami, but of course my mom's side, they're all Jamaican, like from Kingston, Jamaican. And I did not know when I created the book. I definitely did it based on my ancestry, of course. So it's a Caribbean themed series of books. But I am ashamed to say I did not know there was such a thing as Little London anything. I did research things after the fact and found out, but I just love the name London. Yeah, and it was just a coincidence. So, but it worked out because it makes sense. Yeah, but I had no idea.
It make a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of sense. Just that we call it Little London.
That sounds right.
Oh, wow. So we really appreciate you coming back and joining us on again. So Latoya, you wear so many hats, right? You're a professor, you're a writer, you write children's book, you're a wellness consultant, you're a good teacher. What got you to this place?
I'm trying to figure out, but to be honest, I've always been one of those people that have a lot of interest since I was younger. So I've always been a creative person. So even when I was younger, I actually used to write books and poetry. However, I didn't have a publisher. I didn't know how to do any of that, so I used to just, create the little books and you staple it together, those type of things, and just kept it to myself. But since I was little, kindergarten, my mom still actually has poetry. It wasn't good. It was not good poetry, but, as good as a 5-year-old, I guess, can write poetry. So I was always writing from a really, really young age. So very, just naturally. So very interesting, just, had that kind of creative flair. So that was the creative part, but also, education was so important. My mom really instilled in me at a young age. She was a single mom. I'm her only child. I do have some half siblings. That's a whole nother story. But, so for her, especially coming from, her family being from Jamaica, they definitely had a lot of hardships. And so from a young age, education was really important. So that's where I got the other side of it, learning to, appreciate academics and continued learning. And yeah, I've just always had a lot of different interests, so it brings me to where I am today, just trying to merge, what I've done in my career, as a healthcare professional, as a registered nurse, my love for education and teaching, and then also my, just natural creativity, just wanting to kind of merge all of that together, and to bring value to the communities, that I want to serve. But again, also just having fun and being able to express myself in different ways. Yeah.
Wow, you said a lot there. You talk about education being a big deal, for your moms from those early days, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a single parent. And it's obvious because you have a lot of those 3 letters behind your name. It's, oh my goodness. You got DNP, MBA, RN, RYT. What's all that stuff?
So let me break it down.
Break it down.
I will tell you, I had no idea I would end up here with all of those. That was never in the plan. I'll start off by saying my mother was, again, she was a young mom. She was a CNA, so she was a nursing assistant for a very long time. Now she works in healthcare, more of an administrative role at this point, but she started off as a CNA nursing assistant. I'm not gonna lie, in true Jamaican fashion, like she had me working, helping her with her patients at a very young age. I would make food for them, whatever she needed me to help her with. I was not getting paid, but I saw her do that, and I said, you know what, healthcare, that's what I'm gonna do. It's a good field. You bring value, to those that you're serving, and I just decided to go into healthcare without much thought. But I knew I wanted to do more, of course. And so at a really young age, I think before I was in high school, actually, I said, you know what, I'm going to be an RN. That's not unusual for Caribbean folks. I think we all know that. I have a lot of family members that have been caretakers in other roles. So, that was my journey to becoming a nurse. And I actually graduated with my bachelor's and had my license as a registered nurse at 22 years old. and I am not 22. For those of you who still think I am, I get that. Like, how old are you? But I'm not 22. But yeah, so I went for it very young, bachelor's in nursing. And because I saw my mom struggle a lot financially, even like her family watching, I noticed that not too many got too far, like her immediate family that I was around. And I said, you know what, I really don't want this exactly. I want to try to do something different and try to do something, a little bit better than what I saw. And, it's not easy out there. It's a struggle sometimes to kind of do different. So I always knew I would get a master's degree, but I had no idea I would get a doctorate's degree. So I just graduated with my doctorate in 2022. So it's been a journey. I went into my MBA program back in 2016, graduated in 2019 with my MBA because I was interested in entrepreneurship, consulting, things like that. But for some reason, I just, I don't know, I was like, okay, well, I want to consult, but I think having an advanced healthcare degree, especially with, I've been in health care and health insurance for such a long time, since 2013, as a nurse, but also on the administrative side. I've seen a lot, if you could imagine. I understand what patients go through. I understand the administrative complexities. I've been a case manager. So I understand a lot about our healthcare system. And I thought, a great way for me to teach, to educate would be to have a more advanced degree within healthcare. So that led me to decide to go ahead and get my doctorate degree in healthcare systems leadership. And now I'm kind of piecing everything together. But it's, everything is pretty new for me. I've been in school for a long time. And just the past 2 years, I've just been working as an adjunct professor, working as a clinical trainer, learning project management, just kind of piecing everything together and learning new skills that will help me, within my consulting business. So that's how I got here.
So, you can tell you really love school, that you went back to teaching so you could stay in school.
Yes, my students may be watching. So yes, I love school. I'm gonna right now. Absolutely. But I thought that at one point I was like, oh, I can do this. This is better than going to, my normal, job. I can do school. And now that I'm an adjunct professor, I'm like, oh, this is a lot of reading, right? So my mind is like, okay, I think I need a break from reading.
Yeah, you're back in school.
Yeah, back in school. So, but I love, being able to teach students what you know already. I think that's a wonderful thing. Once you've gone through the ropes, you've had certain experiences, and when you're a professor, the nice thing about that is other people are curious as to what that experience is like. And you're able to, tell them from an actual person that's been out in the field and actually have seen it. So I think that's like the best part of it, is just being able to provide that value to your students.
Well, congratulations on your educational and your academic achievements. Big stuff. It's a big deal. Big deal. Big deal.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know it didn't just happen. Hard work.
Yeah. A lot of years.
It didn't just happen. You didn't wake up one day and got your DNP.
No.
Some time and your MBA and your R and all that good stuff. Congratulations. So Donna, I'll pass it to you. I know you have some questions that you want to pop and drop on Professor Latoya.
Yes, so I think, well, definitely congratulations on all the work that you're doing. That's, you're doing a lot, which is great. Definitely keep that up. But I wanted to ask you, in reference to the yoga, because I see you're a yoga teacher. Where do you find time to even teach yoga? And what is yoga?
Well, thank you for your question. I have to tell you, finding the time is the hardest part. So, thankfully, I was doing yoga just for self for many years. Not that I was a professional at it at all, but I first got into it years and years ago, just because I, wanted to make sure that I cared for my mental health. So I got into meditation. I've gone to that before. And really it was just to stay healthy, stay flexible, things like that over the years. So I was doing it anyway. And so of course, having the idea or the want to create a health and wellness and health and education business, I was trying to figure out exactly what my focus would be, what the services would be that I would be offering. And I wanted to do something fun, so I've been in school for forever, right? And I work in a pretty serious industry, health insurance and managed care. So, if I was going to do a business, it needed to be fun and needed to have an element of creativity, but also bring value to the clients that I'm serving. So I said, well, I'm doing this anyway. I don't have any more space for anything else, outside of what I'm doing. Why don't I bring this into that idea of that consulting business? And so that's kind of where I got the idea to go ahead and learn yoga. I wasn't sure if I was truly going to teach it. But I decided to sign up to a program. It was online, but of course, you go to your normal yoga classes in person to practice. But so it was online, so that was helpful. And I'm still actually taking a yoga 300. Don't ask me why, but I have my yoga 200, and now I hopped into the 300. So I'm practicing that, learning Pilates. Yeah. And then eventually what I plan to do is get my certified personal trainer, because again, offering services as a health and wellness consulting, I just love the idea of learning it from an exercise science perspective. So I've done healthcare from a nursing perspective and from, of course, the administrative perspective, and of course, teaching it to students. But I thought it would be so much fun to actually learn it from an exercise science perspective. That way I can work with, clients, nonprofits, community organizations, and help them kind of develop wellness programs. So yeah, that's why I kind of decided to just go ahead and learn these different elements, kind of bring it all together, under one. But yeah, the time is, I'm still working on that, time management. I'm working on it.
I think we all are. That's something we'll always be working on, right? Always be. The type of yoga you practice was yin yoga?
Yeah. So there's a few different types. I've taken all the classes, I will tell you that. And I landed on two. So it's not just yin, even though that's the name of the company that I'm working on. Because at first I thought I would only focus on yin yoga. Yin yoga is slower. If you've ever seen like vinyasa classes or normal yoga where people are kind of flowing from one pose to the other, yin is very different. Yin is where you'll take a certain pose and you'll keep that pose for a longer amount of time. That can be up to like 3 to 5 minutes. It just depends on the teacher. And really you're kind of loosening up those muscles. You're getting into a little bit more of a relaxing state. So it's slower, it's calmer. I think it's great for people, especially if you're someone that has anxiety or, high stress, and you really just need to take it down a notch and relax. That can be great. And you have to learn how to be still. I have read, because I'm a part of some Facebook groups of other, yoga teachers and programs, where some people actually find it very difficult to remain still for such a long time. So it can be great for those type of people to just, learn to stay in the moment. So I'm going to be, working on that, but also vinyasa. So doing a little bit of a faster yoga, kind of doing both.
Yeah, because I'm particularly interested in the yin yoga. And the reason is because we live in such a fast-paced world. With so much happening all around us all the time. And so that's why I brought it up. And, to me, it seems as if it serves a powerful purpose because of the kind of world we're living in, where everything is just happening, going around. It sort of slows you down, bring you back so you can really focus and think, through meditation or whatever. So that's really why and I'm glad you went through it and you explained it. Even before I asked you the question, you nailed it. But That's where I was heading with that.
That's the difference. Yeah, that's the difference. And that's why I started to only do that. However, because not everybody wants to just focus on yin. It's nice to have, they have kind of a combination of yin and vinyasa. So you can do a combination class of a faster yoga, and then you can wind down with the yin afterwards, which I actually prefer. So I decided to focus on both.
Yeah. Donna, which direction you heading, Donna?
I think I would, the yin sounds quite interesting, because like we're saying, it's that you live in such a fast-paced environment, and really slowing the mind down and then along with the body can be very challenging, right? So having something that you have to, take your time, hold for a longer period of time, and really, recenter and slow down. I think, it sounds like something that I would probably want to try. I don't know how difficult it is though.
Can you slow down is a question.
Yeah.
Some of those poses, I'm like, I don't think my body.
Yeah, I think it depends on the pose, but I know for me, I want it to be accessible, and I'm not super flexible now, I know I'm relatively young. However, just getting older, and then all of us, if you're working from home, you're sitting a lot. So even for me, like the flexibility, if I don't practice, it's not there. So the nice thing about yoga, it really is for anyone. And for me, I'm going to be focusing on just that level 1. So what's accessible to people that have not even done yoga before. So, simple poses, and, you kind of start people off slowly, and maybe not a whole 5 minutes of one pose, but maybe, 1 minute, and then just see how people do, and you progress over time. So that's what I like about yoga, because you can just go at your own pace. And then you can slowly progress. It's all you. Yoga is all you, right? So it's not about mastering a certain pose, or it really is just being able to pay attention to your body, pay attention to your mind, settle into what it is, your practice, what it is that you need to do. So it's all you. So anybody can do it. So I wouldn't be hesitant. I would say just try it. But it's for everyone.
It's for us. It's for all of us.
What's the health benefits of doing yoga?
Well, there's actually studies on this. So I know as a healthcare professional, I'm always looking for the evidence. Because even though I'm into, of course, the exercise science, yoga sometimes pulls in, it's not a religion, but sometimes certain parts of yoga can actually pull in religion, Chinese medicine, so other types of medicine. So I know for me as a healthcare professional, I'm, learning what I need to learn about yoga practice, but I'm also looking for evidence before I ever tell anyone that this is what yoga can do for you. There's a line with certain things. So there are actually studies. I'm a part of Yoga Alliance, which is like a membership-based program for registered yoga teachers. And they actually come out with studies that are evidence-based, so based on research. So there have been studies that show, yoga can potentially reduce stress, so it can reduce your stress levels. Yoga can increase your flexibility over time. Yoga is great for your mental health. So those are a lot of the things the benefits, that are available, once you start practicing. As the healthcare professional in me, I always say everyone is different though. So that's why I say it may, right? Because there's individuals that may have certain illnesses or, physical disabilities, things like that prohibit them from getting some of those benefits. So it's important to say, okay, well, it doesn't cure, necessarily your ailment, but it can be beneficial to you.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all type of thing.
No, exactly.
By no means.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about LSK Yin Yoga and Wellness Company. Talk to us about that. Just bring us on board with that.
Sure. So it's still in the works. I'm still building. Right now, I'm actually just building up the website for the company, and just kind of seeing how it grows before I officially launch it. But basically, it's the wellness consulting that I want to do. So it's under that LSK Yin Yoga Co., that name. However, it's not all about yin yoga. So that's the catch. But I love the name so much. I started to just focus on yoga, but then I decided to expand it out to wellness education. So I'm building the website. It's going to be an online community where you can learn about topics about vinyasa, yin yoga, but also Pilates. I'm learning classical mat Pilates, so you can learn about that. You can learn about self-care. So it's all really about just wellness, self-care. That can include anything from, I have a blog that I'm starting on that website that has to do with travel. That's a part of self-care.
Mhm.
So focus on wellness, self-care. I may have information about nutrition in there, as I complete my certified personal trainer course, but it's just all about wellness, but more holistically. So what do you do to care for self on a daily basis, whether it's exercise, whether it's watching what you eat, making sure you sleep, making sure that you drink enough water. So, real holistic type of topics.
Donna, is there any other question before we go to break? You want to?
No, no, not currently. Looks
Okay.
like I've covered everything that I possibly can.
Let's take an on-screen break. Let's
Okay.
take an on-screen break, right?
I'm a boy kid, I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid, I'm a boy kid. I wake up in the morning and I praise the Lord. I thank Him for His protection and I walk in His steps, declaring that today's provision is set up for me. I love God and I love my friends. I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid. I put on my armor and I read His word, blessing come out of my mouth. Cause I know to whom I belong, I am bold for Christ. Holy Spirit dwelling within me, carrying His presence wherever He sends me. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. Loving others as He told me to pray for healing, miracles to see, knowing my identity in Christ, He is in me. I am a bold kid, He loves me, standing firm on His word, proclaiming everything I heard, not afraid because He is with me. Be bold. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. I put on my armor and I read His word, blessing come out of my mouth. Because I know to whom I belong, I am bold for Christ. Holy Spirit dwelling within me, carrying His presence wherever He sends me. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid.
Right. Welcome back. Welcome back to In the Spotlight, the home of unfiltered raw, where nothing is left on the table. We tell it all. And our guest tonight is Professor Latoya. We're calling her Professor because that's who she is. Right? She's one out there imparting knowledge, bringing people on board, young people on board with knowledge. And that's a big, big deal. That's especially here at the Collegium with Purpose. We're all about the younger generation, bringing them to where they need to be, showing them the way, right? Empowering them. That's what we do, right, Donna?
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. So we have a professor here with us tonight. We're gonna big her up. We're gonna big her up. So, let's talk about little London. And I'm gonna pop something on the screen. I want you to talk to us about it.
Sure. So Little London is my other project. So it's my kids book series. So it's something where it actually just started as something fun to do. So I mentioned to you that I have, written books and poetry since I was younger. I've always wanted to do a kids book. So I said, well, I think this was about last year. I said, well, when am I going to do it? Right? It's never the right time exactly. But I had a little pamphlet actually from this publisher that I had for like years, just kind of like sitting there, as kind of a part of like a vision board. And then one day I just kind of went over, looked at it, and I was like, you know what, I've always wanted to do this. So I got started. I found an illustrator and a publisher and worked on my very first book, Little London and Brown, which is, I think I have this here. This is the first one actually in the series. So hopefully you can see this here, but it's a hardcover. But this is the first one, Little London and Brown. And of course it's Caribbean inspired. And yeah, just decided to continue on. I had an idea for 2 more books to do a series, and just actually finished the second one, which is actually Little London and Brown Travels to England. So hopefully you can see it here. So it's Christmas theme. And of course, because it is Caribbean theme, it's based on my ancestry. When it comes to Jamaicans, a lot of Caribbeans, kind of, you'll see where they either have gone from Jamaica to London or, different places. And so that really follows that pattern of looking at our actual ancestry. So Little London in this book goes to visit her.
Can you put it up again so we can see
Sure.
it?
Oops. Yep. Hopefully you can see it. Okay.
You can see it better this way.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So basically, Little London goes to see her grandfather in London.
If you can you post the link in the chat so we can get it out there too? The link for your books.
All right, sure. But yeah, so that's part of the series. And the third one I'm actually working on, it's called Little Mila Brown. So it's part of the Brown family, and they're going to go back to Africa. That's going to be the last book in the series. So again, based on ancestry, Caribbean theme, where you get to kind of see the culture, food, music, everything that has to do with like Caribbean and the African diaspora. So. Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow.
Donna, you're an author yourself. What are your thoughts on his books? I mean, I'm impressed. Anything about children's book, I'm into. So there's going to be a book signing event, Colin Scribe, Saturday, November 30th, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. And the address is on there. Okay, this is in Fayetteville.
It's in Fayetteville. Yeah. There's a place called Trilith. I don't know if you two have gone there before, but it's absolutely beautiful. I know Fayetteville is in the South, so depending. And I've lived all over Georgia, so I'm one of those because I work remotely to where I've just traveled. I was in Dallas, Georgia. Didn't even know that was a thing, but. So always been open. I, used to live in Midtown in the city, and now I'm in Fairburn. So Fayetteville is in the South in this direction where you have like Noonan, really beautiful community, but really beautiful.
In Georgia?
People in the North, what I'm realizing with Georgia, because, I'm a Floridian. I have roots here on my dad's side though, but I will tell you, I noticed people in North Georgia, they act a little different, when we're talking about the South, but it's honestly, it is, I'm discovering things. It's really beautiful communities that are surrounding the area that I'm in Fairburn, but I'm kind of close to where it merges into like Peachtree City. And yes, there is such a thing as Peachtree City in Georgia. For those of you who don't know, that is a thing. There's a Peachtree City. So I'm close to that. But yeah, Noonan, Fayetteville, those areas. So Trilith is a huge development. I mean, beautiful, beautiful. If you've ever been to like Alpharetta and gone to like the Halcyon, I think it's what it's called. Trilith actually mirrors that to me, in my opinion. But it's like they just plopped it in the middle of not much. But there's like movie studios all in one vicinity. So they shoot movies in that area. They're building hotels, restaurants. I think they have a soccer team it's just developing. So it's pretty amazing. I'm about 15 minutes from there in Fairburn. And they have this really adorable bookstore called Scholar and Scribe. You can't miss it because it's yellow. So it's a yellow bookstore and it's the cutest little thing. They have adult books, kids books, whatever you want. So I'll be doing a book signing there. Very excited for it. My first book signing. And just the community is just great. So it's just nice to kind of be local. The first time I did an event with my books, I was all the way on the Beltline with other vendors, which was nice, but there's something really wonderful about being able to serve like your local community. And then just knowing the people that come around, they love, being in that area. And so very excited. So yeah, November 30th, starting at 1:30. We'll be there probably till about, I think 3 or 3:30. And just available, for people who want to listen to the audio. There's an audiobook so they can listen for free. I have little bookmarks to give out. I'm there for the signing, and just to really promote the book. Yeah, so it should be fun. Bring the family, the kids.
Bring the kids out. Let's promote these books about Caribbean and Afro stuff. It's a big deal. There's another thing that you're doing that's huge. You're collaborating with nonprofits to donate books to promote literacy in underserved communities. Can you talk a little bit about that? Sure.
So this will be something that I will eventually merge under my health and wellness company. So again, the books really just started as something fun to do. But, as I've been promoting the book and meeting people, I realized there's actually a need. And sometimes we don't know that, if we're not in those communities, especially once we work our way to a certain place in life. And sometimes we don't know, or we don't see where there's a need still. So it's been great kind of just, being able to be in touch with organizations. I donated a few books to a company called Read Out Loud in Georgia. They're in multiple states. But I was surprised. I reached out to them and I said, I have a few books, it was left over from a vending event that I did. Reached out, I wasn't sure there was a need. And I found out there was a huge need, actually. I had no idea. And they partner with clinics. So if, a child is going into the clinic or something like that, they supply books for that child to be, children to come and be able to read. But specifically what got me is the program manager that I spoke to mentioned that there's a need in very specific areas. So that really got me to thinking, okay, let me see what other organizations, have the same need for kids, just to make sure they have something to help them, whether it's with literacy or, just to have something. Some kids don't have any, reading materials. Some kids don't actually have that. Some schools actually don't have what they need to properly, educate the children. So it's just, something I thought would be valuable, hopefully. And yeah, so part of that is, donating also to your organization, just to see where I can help out.
Well, I know you plan to donate some to our nonprofit, Global Humanity Network, sometime in December. But let me ask you, in terms of jurisdiction, localities, geographic areas, are there any restrictions, I should say?
As far as who I would donate to?
And where?
There's actually none. None that I can think of at this moment. The books are actually available. So I have some physical copies. However, the books are available from Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, and Book Baby as a publisher. So wherever they ship, those books can go. So there's no limitations that I'm aware of, at least.
So regarding this donation program you have, I was just thinking about with our work that we're doing in Kenya, Donna.
Mm-hmm.
And that would also get you into this other country as well and create a presence there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking how these kids could use books like yours.
Right.
I'm just thinking how valuable that, impactful that could be. Yeah. So anyway, we talk about that. How about that?
Yeah, I'm all ears. I'm all ears. That's the most important part, is to just make sure it gets to a place where there's an actual need, you know.
And I can tell you right now, it would be very impactful. Just having this conversation, and I didn't think about it before, but having this conversation with you now, I could see the power in doing something like that.
Yeah. I mean, same here. Like I said, you know, was doing something fun, and I was surprised. I shouldn't be, because I've worked in pediatrics as a nurse as well. So in underserved communities, so I'm aware, you know. But sometimes you know, when you're a little bit further away from it, you forget.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for a moment I almost forgot that. Okay, you know, I have these books. There's a lot of kids' books out there, especially now.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a gap in certain communities. So I said, oh, you know, that's probably perfect. That's a perfect place to start. You know, I have the books, they have the need. Why not?
And especially the fact that is it the third one that you said you're thinking of writing, traveling back to Africa?
Yes. Yeah. So the third one, which I'm excited, I just got the cover. I've been working on the cover with the illustrator, which they're based out of Africa. Yeah, they're in Johannesburg. When I found them a long time ago, I wasn't sure. I just said, let me try them. They, you know, a smaller company, but they've done all of my books so far. So I said, okay, let me get started on the third one. And they were so excited because they're like, oh, this is coming back to our neck of the woods. And I think the illustrator is actually from the Philippines, if I'm not mistaken. You know, but the company itself, they were so excited. So yesterday, I just got the draft of the cover for Little Mila Brown, which again, Little Mila, she's a part of the Little London Anne Brown tribe. She's a part of the family. And I can probably show you a little bit from the current Christmas book. She's in there. And so it's a transition for her to be in that third book. And, you know, that full circle going back to Africa, but they're going to head over to Cape Town. The special thing about the third book is because, you know, I do plan to put it under that umbrella of the health and wellness and literacy and wellness together. The third book is going to be themed with health and wellness themes, yoga, Pilates. So it's going to be fun. Little Mila's mom is a health instructor. So, you know, things like that, just kind of like putting those things in there. And part of that, I will tell you, is because I learned while I was learning different types of yoga, that children's yoga, and I didn't know this before because I don't have babies, but I have fur babies, but no babies. But children's yoga actually involves storytelling. Why I didn't know that, you know, so it's something I learned by taking a children's yoga course, that they incorporate storytelling into yoga time. So that really combines that literacy and wellness together. So the kids can have fun, you know, they can get exercise at the same time. They can learn meditation. And you'll probably know in some schools they do SEL. So it's mindfulness and those type of concepts. So it makes sense. I decided to go ahead and integrate those concepts into that book with Little Mila Brown. As they go on an adventure to Cape Town. But Mila's mom is going to be teaching about community wellness, mindfulness. And so that way, you know, yoga teachers or other types of health instructors can also, if they want to, you know, purchase the book, they can incorporate that into their classes if they hold classes for children. So, yeah, so should be a lot of fun. And I know I'm excited talking about it, but, you know, like I said, the company was ecstatic. So it's just always nice when other people share that vision that you have.
your passion for what you do is coming out, it's jumping through the screen, and that's a good thing. You know, you're doing so many things, and I know Donna had said something about that earlier. So many different things you're doing. Just give us a tip. And Donna is into this time management piece. So give us a tip. How you manage all these different competing interests, and they're all important.
I am probably not the best person to talk about time management, but I will, I guess. You know, the only thing that I can do is plan. That's it. I know the last time I was on, Donna asked me about kind of like what I do to organize, or, you know, things like that, but that's all I can do is plan out things ahead of time so I don't lose it. Because it is a lot of different things at one time. So I create timelines basically, you know, and I see, okay, well, what can I work on this month? You know, what do I have to stretch out, you know, to the next month? Sometimes I have to push things, you know, push it a month, 2 months, 3 months. But I think at the end of the day, as long as you get it done, it will get done, you know, but you just have to keep it as a priority.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's your time, right? It's your time, and they're your projects. So you do the best you can.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
Important, right? At the time. Yes. So what in the future? You know, what's your big plans for the future? I know you have the consulting piece you're working on, and then anything else? Anything new you're looking at outside of what you're currently doing?
I feel like that's enough what I'm doing. I think what I'm doing with the health and wellness, I think it's enough to keep me busy for quite some time because it's a buildup. You know, you have to build the different pieces from operations, you know, to marketing, to project management. So I would say like this year, it's mainly learning that I'm doing a lot of learning, different skill sets. I'm doing a lot of building. So I'm actually creating the website for the company. So I'm working on that. And I guess travel in between, you know, but that's about it. I think that's all I can fit. I'm not sure if there's anything else. I started to add something, but I was like, it doesn't even make any sense. It's too much going on right now. But I am working with a company to do public health equity consulting as well with another company. So I'm working on my company, but they just reached out to me to actually work with them as like a trainer or somebody who actually creates material to talk about public health equity to different companies. So, but it's all intertwined. It's all interrelated. It's, you know, it's all the same thing. It's health, you know, public health education, you know, training. So it's really just kind of me working on those things, honing my skills. You know, and then again, hopefully I can officially launch what I'm doing within the next year.
Any plans to take your writing outside the scope of children's book?
So glad you asked. So yes. So, you know, the thing with the writing, you know, before I did the children's book, I actually used to do, like I mentioned to you, poetry and kind of a personal project that I worked on since I was probably way back when in high school. Just different situations I've gone through in life. I started writing more of a creative writing piece, just as a way to get my thoughts out, just for me personally. That is it. No intention of publishing or anything like that. So I started that like way back in high school. You know, put it off to the burner. Every couple of years, I always think about, okay, this little project, I add to it, I write. And so as, you know, the children's books are actually coming to a close, you know, because I'm working on that very last one, I said, you know what? Okay, I've had this kind of manuscript just kind of marinating there. I keep thinking about it every couple of years. I'm adding to it. Of course, I write differently than I would have in high school or even 5 years ago. So I'm adding things. And I went back to it actually not too long ago. I took a look, didn't realize how much I actually wrote. Different pieces, but different pieces from different eras. So a lot of things that I have to kind of bring up to speed. So it is a project that I am working on after this kid's book. And it's a book for adults. But it's more of a kind of a short story, kind of like a coffee book type of, project where it's a creative writing piece. So there's characters in it, but basically that book talks about the hardships that we go through in life, right? The journeys that we follow in life and how to get to a place of feeling free. So it's called Breathe, which makes perfect sense since it's a health and wellness business that I'm starting, but it's called Breathe, A Poetic Journey. And just something I'm working on the back end for adults, but to put under that yoga umbrella, that company. It's not yoga related necessarily, but it really is about, how to get through the hardships so you can see the light on the other side. With the characters that are in it, they basically, I hate to say it, but I hate to give it away, but basically they decide to kind of ditch their 9-to-5 and just take off and, travel around the world. So that's kind of what the book, but it's going to be a little bit more poetic than it sounds. So that's why it's taken me a moment to kind of put all these pieces from different years together and write it in a voice that I currently, the way that I think currently, and just rewrite things. Because again, I want it to be a little bit more poetic, little emotions in there, and so I'm working on that. Yeah.
Well, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, maybe you can recite one of your poems for us.
I'm like, okay.
Okay, let's do that. Let's play Shadows.
Caught in the web of what they said, lost in the expectations, living in hesitation. I walked in other shadows. Deep inside, a fire burned, a whisper turned to a roar. I am liberated from walking in other shadows. I walk in my authentic self, breaking chains with me. From the shadows to the light, a new life begins, shining so bright. Society tries to mold you into someone you couldn't be, fighting through the darkness to find the real me. No longer bound by others' rules, let your spirit soar. With every step you take, you are stronger than before. I am liberated from walking in other shadows. I walk in my authentic self, breaking chains with me. From the shadows to the light, a new life begins, shining so bright. Breaking away from the shadows within, I rise up and shine from deep within. A beacon of light I'll always be, living in truth, walking in victory. I am free, yes I am free. From the shadows to the light, I am free, walking in my truth, forever free, living in victory, shining brightly. I am liberated from walking in other shadows. I walk in my authentic self, breaking chains with me. Breaking chains with me. From the shadows to the light, I walk in my authentic self.
Right, welcome back to In the Spotlight, where it's all about real talk. Nothing is left on the table. But Donna, before the professor go into this poetry thing, Can you just give us a quick breakdown on this shadows business and why is this so important?
Yeah, so Shadows, it's going to be it's an anthology, right? Where we're going to have several co-authors sharing their stories about basically what they've gone through in their lives and how they've overcome living in other individual shadows or just society's expectations of what they should be. And then you just get to a point where in life you realize that what, I've been living this life and I'm not fulfilled. It's serving me no purpose and I can't do it anymore, to where you've just become this new person and you've become liberated and basically just say, I don't care anymore. This is the path that I'm going to take, and find your true self. And then just starting to live authentically, right? And being okay with who you are and standing on that platform and just sharing your story, your journey, how you've come to that place where you are currently in life. And that's really what Shadows is really all about, is just breaking free from, all those expectations that's been put on you that at some point you realize that it's serving you no purpose.
No problem. I have a few shadows I'm still trying to jump out of. Just trying to jump, like one of them long jump type of guy who's just running and just boom, just get away from them shadows. Them things can bind you in a place where you don't belong. So big stuff there.
Yeah, and I find that sometimes, Dr. Stevenson, that if you're not careful, because of course, shadows, it can be a good thing and a bad thing, right? It just depends on, what you do with it. But I find that sometimes individuals, you get trapped in it until it's almost like you lose yourself, you lose who you are, you lose your identity, you lose your being, because now you've morphed into something that you don't even recognize yourself.
Well, I can say that our guest tonight, Professor Latoya, is not walking in. She's the one that's creating shadows for people to walk in. But it is quite likely that at some point she did walk in shadows, but she's certainly stepping out of them. So treat us, bless us with a point.
So I was not expecting that. So I do not have anything memorized. Dr. Stevenson, this has come out of nowhere. To be honest, I don't. Do you really want a poem, Donna? Donna, do you want to get me out of this?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna keep you right in there.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I don't know if I can remember this. I may have to bring it up.
Just run it.
I'll try, but I don't think I remember the whole thing. I would have to find it. Gosh, really?
Just run it.
And we're live, right? No, I don't think I can remember the whole thing.
Anything, let's just start.
I can start it. I don't know if I can finish it, but so there and I never say this stuff out loud. Remember, I'm more of a writer than
That's why tonight we're pushing the envelope.
Yeah. I see what you're doing here. Like I said, I'll start it. I don't know if I can remember everything, but you're really putting me on the spot. Like, I don't appreciate it.
Okay. No, we don't have to do it then if you don't want.
There's, like I said, I'll start it, but I don't know if I can finish it. But there's one particular one that I wrote when I was in nursing school, actually inspired it. And it's so funny that I still had it written somewhere. So the only time I ever wrote poetry was when I was going through something. And the fact that I wrote this during nursing school, it was tough. But it's called Cobblestone. And honestly, I wish I had the whole thing because I don't know if I'm going to be able to say all of it, but all right, here we go. So it starts off, traveling on this cobblestone road that is paved with obstruction and lined with potholes. I began at the steps, treading hard for my goals, a few staggers and stumbles as I try to grab hold. I felt doubtful, misguided at the least, felt excited. This is the part I can't remember. Concerned. Let's see here. I may have to pull it up to be able. Let me see if I can pull it up. This is,
Okay, it's sounding good. I'm telling you.
this is what happens.
You got us.
But this is what happens when you put me on the spot.
You got us. You got us.
And now
You got us. You
I
got
can't
us.
remember. Give me one second.
It's good.
Let me see if I can find this. You should have told me ahead of time.
I didn't know you write poetry. I didn't know you was doing this stuff. This is just another thing that you do. You do all these powerful things. But we don't have to go through it now.
Swear.
I got the idea.
We're gonna have to, we'll have to do this another time if I can't find
This
it.
cobblestone stuff.
Yeah, but basically it's it's called Cobblestone, and it was one of those things where I was just going through a really hard time. And this is probably going to be a part of the creative writing piece, Breathe, the Poetic Journey. And don't really want to end on this note, but part of it was my father passed, I think right before I went into nursing school.
Wow.
But it's a long backstory, so I won't get into that here as far as what our relationship looked like before then. But it was just a surprise, a tragedy. I've gone through other things before that, but this was the biggest, losing a parent. We weren't super close necessarily. He was back and forth in my life. However, came back about I would say maybe, I don't know if it was 7 months before he was killed. So, don't want to, bring down the mood. However, I don't know how I made it through nursing school. I'll just say that. So anytime I've ever written poetry, over, my life, it's really been going through different emotions. And so, I happen to have that happen, but still having to push forward, of course, being especially a first generation wanting to do better. And don't even know, how I even made it through, but I pushed through because I'm like, I have to get this done. So the poems, I'll leave you in suspense with that little piece because I can't remember the rest. But basically it's written somewhere. But those poems are basically inspired by just going through life. And, difficulty in life and, trying to describe those different emotions that I may have felt at that particular time. So I have some, some like that are inspirational, like, the cobblestone and making it through to the other side. And then I have some that are, a little bit more somber, some that are just encouraging and, so it's a mix of things, but the book, Breathe, the Poetic Journey, I'm working on trying to kind of get everything kind of summed up together, so it's a nice read. It's going to be a short, kind of more of a short book, maybe between 45 and 65 pages. But I wanted to use it as just a way to inspire others, because I'm sure we all know if you're going through something, there's other people that are going through those same things.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear in its entirety you just pitching Cobblestone. I know it's something special. The way it's, what inspired it, how it came about. Big stuff. Donna, any questions for Latoya? I have one question I want to ask her, but I won't give you the opportunity to ask questions.
So will you be publishing your poetry in the near future?
So that is a really good question. I didn't know I was going to talk about all of this. Because these are really, it's so funny that, you two have asked these type of questions, because these are really just things I've just been working on the back end. And I never really talk about what I'm doing unless I'm sure and unless I'm close to kind of finishing that project. But Yeah, but you know, the last 2 years, that's what I've been focused on. That's why I have these different things going on. It's because I'm like, you know what? Well, it's never going to be the right time. You know, you never have quite enough money on my end, at least. I'll say it never feels like I have enough money, enough time, enough this. But it's like, well, if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? You know, I know I say this, you know, this is what I've definitely, you know, kind of self-talk to myself these days. It's like, okay, well, today I'm healthy. Today, you know, I have my finances look like this today. I don't know what things are going to look like tomorrow. And I think that's true of all of us. We don't know. And so that's why it's so important to me to just kind of work and get these things out. So to answer your question, I am, you know, considering, I started working on the creative writing piece that I told you about, you know, that's about kind of travel and kind of like what you mentioned, kind of ditching those expectations or what we thought we wanted, things like that, and just figuring out what do you truly want. However, because I do have the poetry, you know, I said, okay, well, you know, should I not? And so I'm actually leaning towards just doing that book, but also doing a poetry book that complements it at the same time. So yes, so I'm working on it. I mean, I have the poetry, so but I'm working on adding a couple other poems as well, and just putting it out there. I guess you don't know until you put it out there.
So Professor Latoya, as you know, the name of our company is a Collision with Purpose, right? So we expect collision with purpose all the time. We expect things to happen, right? And we expect that anything is possible. And it will happen, right, Donna? We're the kind of company that when you come and you have a conversation with us, there's nothing that is tabled. That is good. We expect that it will come out. So I think it was appropriate, and it's a good thing that we're having this conversation about your poetry, even though, you know, you've done all you're gonna do.
Yeah.
We know that's not so. We know that there's so many more opportunities and things waiting. And as soon as you recognize them, you're gonna run with them like no tomorrow. Yeah. So we know you're probably just taking a break in your mind, but that's the only place the break is right now. And it's a brief break, and that's how it should be. You know, what would you say is the biggest lesson that you've learned through your journey so far? And how has it shaped your purpose in life?
That is, I think that's a pretty powerful question. Gosh, what I've learned on my 38, I don't think I've ever mentioned that, my 38 years of life. In case, you know, you all were wondering, 38 years of life. Gosh, that's a tough one. Because everything that I've done, you know, it's been, you know, achievements, certain achievements, you know, school, academia, you know, with work and career. But it's like like the things that I'm working on now, it's like I circled back to things that I did when I was a kid. And I think that's probably true. I don't know if it's true of everybody, but I think it's true of probably a lot of people. Like we have these expectations, whether it's ours or most likely, I'm assuming it's more so either society or parents, but we get these ideas from others around us on who we're supposed to be, what we're supposed to do, you know, what we need to become, what we need to achieve. And we just kind of sometimes just go that direction. And then sometimes we wind up in a place. I know for me, it's like with the writing as an example, all these other things that I've done, and I'm so grateful just, you know, the fact that I was able to achieve what I have, you know, whether I was, you know, feeling doubtful or not, to just kind of keep going and to get it done. But it's like, no matter what I have achieved, it always circled right back to just the things that have made me happy, like as a child, the creative things, right? So I did all of this. I have all these, you mentioned the credentials, all of these things, very proud of them. But the things that have made me, just probably the most happiest was really just being able to do things that are creative that just kind of come naturally to me. So it's funny, sometimes we diverge because we're like, we got to get this. And I'm not saying don't, because I think these things are important. What I give is valuable as far as my, my education and my background and my career. But the thing that lights the fire, right, sometimes are the other things, So I've just learned over these years, I would say, I know it sounds cliche, but I would say it's really important for people to follow their dreams. I know it's one of those things where you're like, well, the dreams don't pay the bills, and that may be true. But I've seen people, because of course I work with people that are also, doing things that are creative, whether it's photographers or other type of people. And I admire that. I've always admired that so much, to see that they took a non-traditional route, right? And said, you know what, I know everybody's going left, but this is how I feel. I'm going to go right. And I've seen people that are able to just, make it work, just following their dreams. And I've always admired that. So, but it's a balance. But I would just say that's probably the one thing that I learned, because I feel like no matter what, if something is really in you, you're eventually going to feel that you're going to have to circle back and get that completed. I don't know how you all feel, but for me, it's like, it's always a pull. So I'm like, I finished my MBA. I don't know whether it's God or not. I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. But every couple of years, like I said, something is like, well, did you finish that book? Did you go back and look at, your writing? And I'm like, how come every couple of years it's like the book, it just, keeps coming. But sometimes it is for a reason, and you don't know. Sometimes I believe we do have God-given talents and God-given dreams, and, so I think it's worth listening. You can, like I said, you can do all these different things, but eventually, if it's a God-given purpose or God-given dream, I feel like it's always gonna circle back to that until you get it done, at least for me. And that's where I'm at right now. And so, I feel that way for other people. It's like, do what you have to do, to make a living, but don't forget about the dreams that you had. Make sure before you leave this earth, you at least attempt, to make whatever that dream was, to make it happen, at least try. Because I think so many people kind of, they lose that, they forget, they get busy, they have responsibilities. We all do. And before you know it, you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. How you feeling today? I work in healthcare. You don't know what tomorrow is going to bring,
Really don't. Really don't. We talk about the fragility of life, and we're experiencing that all the time, I'm thinking about that question, and one of the lessons I'm learning is I need to pay attention to what I'm doing better. Pay attention and learn to define who I am and not what I do. It's not always easy. Often when someone asks you, who are you? You talk about what you do, which is not necessarily who you are.
Correct.
So I'm learning how that is important, and I need to better understand me. Yeah, and once we do that, so more introspection, right? More introspection, and when you have that level of introspection and you start understanding, you can become more intentional, and that will help you drive your purpose better. Yeah, I think that's for me. It's pay attention to who I am, who I'm becoming, and all those good things. Yeah, I think as I'm listening to your answer, I'm asking myself the same question. Donna, you want to take a hit at it?
I don't know. I mean, I totally agree with what she's saying. It's we find that life, I say life is life in, right? You get
Right?
life is life in, and the responsibilities and all those things that we end up having to do. But at the end of the day, there's always something that tugs at you to take you back to that early childhood, early foundational part of your being, of what you enjoy doing, what you when there was no influences, right? When you were just pure, pure with your gift, your talent that you were blessed with, whatever that may be, and there was no influences of this is the path that you should go, and and then how you end up to really just lifing for you. When you get older, something happens, something transcends inside of you, where you tend to go back to that early years where you feel as though it's something that you should accomplish before you you leave this side of the world.
Do you think we're curious enough? Have we lost some of that?
We have.
And is that good?
It's not, because I think it goes back to, like I said, that whole life, and we get so caught up in the everyday ruts, and what we need to do, and the expectations, right? All the expectations that's put on your head. All these things that you have to live up to, that you lose that curious.
Talking about shadows, right? Again,
yeah, you lose that curious side of you, and I think to a certain degree, it stunts your growth. It stunts your growth, because now you're like in this little cocoon where you're just functional. You become functional, and your growth then becomes limited, right? Growth becomes limited. It's almost like, I don't know if you've ever seen like a rose plant, right? Like, I love roses, but sometimes, like, and I know we're running, but if you ever see a rose plant, like sometimes, like it's growing and it has the bud and it looks like it's gonna do something great, and it's about to, all the petals about to bloom out, and then for some reason it stucks. It gets stuck, and it never fully blooms. And it's just stuck there until it withers, until it literally withers away, for whatever reason, right? Whether it's lack of nutrients or whatever, whatever, right? It stays there until it becomes withered, and then it dies. So it never really fully bloomed to that beauty that it could have been. And I think sometimes our lives can be like that.
And too often, that is the story of so many of our lives. So that's why it is more critical that we understand who we are and what we're all about. Intentionality is something, and so for me, I'm older than both of you, needless to say, but I still struggle with these type of things, by the way. And often when I ask a question, it's because that's something I'm thinking about for me. And so struggle with it, and probably will struggle with it, and probably should struggle with it, because that's a sign of growth, right? The moment you think you got it, and man, I mastered this thing, that's when that flowers start blooming that you're talking about. So anyway, so we can't stay here forever, but final thoughts. Professor Latoya, you're up.
Well, final thoughts. I would say, gosh, it's a tough one. Well, let me say thank you, first off. So it's always insightful for me. I know this is the second time that I've been on, but just I don't talk a lot about myself and my projects, like I said, until they're a little bit closer to being complete or out there already. So the questions that both you and Donna have posed, it always leaves me thinking a little bit more, once that talk is over. But it's necessary, it's valuable to have that introspection and to share as well with other people. It does hold you accountable to a couple things, and but it's just nice to, of course, just share what you're doing. So thank you for having me on. I'll say that I do appreciate that. But my goodness, final thoughts. I would say, before I said take care of yourself, and I know you mentioned taking care of others as well. So I would reiterate that and say that again. Take care of yourself. It's really important. I think with our conversations we've been having, we've talked about the fact that you never know, what tomorrow's going to bring for you or for your loved ones. And it's really important to stop, breathe, take a moment, reflect, find, whether it's 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever you have, whether it's in the morning or before you go to bed at night, just take a moment, whether it's practicing gratitude or just being grateful for being here, for breathing, and being grateful for the loved ones that you do have. So take care. I would just say the same thing. I would say take care of yourself and take care of others.
Awesome. And there's nothing more important than to take care of you and others. Donna, you get to go next. I want to hear your piece.
All right. Like we've always said, we kind of started this evening with the fragility of life, right? Be mindful of your time and how you're spending your time and the quality in which you're spending your time, because time is the most valuable and precious things that you have. And how you use it is very important, because once it's gone, it's gone. You can't recoup it, right? So just be mindful of the things that you're doing when you're utilizing your time. Consider your time to be the most precious thing you have and treat it as such. And whether that's, having to use that time to take care of yourself, which you should be, taking care of yourself and taking care of others and spending time with others, or whatever it is that you're doing. But just look at your time as the most valuable, the most jewel thing that you have, that you've been blessed with, and be mindful how you use it and treat it as such, because it is something that is very precious and we cannot replace. We definitely cannot replace that.
Oh, sure can't. It's a different thing tomorrow and the next day. They said the door of opportunities, right? The windows of opportunities. As the time go by, it's a different opportunity, right? The thing work like this. Here's the door, here's a window. And then it's working like this. So it's not the same opportunity by the minute. But so tomorrow's election. It's a big deal. You know who you should vote for. If you're watching, go out there and exercise your choice is there, and vote. It's important. Big decisions. These decisions have implications, not just at the presidential level, but also at the local level as well, probably even more so. So go out there and do what you're supposed to do. And they say if your life is important, then act like it is.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say, man, my life is this, is that, but yet you're sitting back not doing anything about it, right? So if it is important, then act like it is. What does that mean? Find out what you need to do to get what you say you want in life, right? Don't be out there saying, I want to earn $1 million, but yet you're not doing the work. Get out of that dream state and become real. No, but my thing is about kindness. And what is the requirement to be kind? A lot of times some of us believe you have to have a lot. Sometimes you have less than the person that you're offering, that you're giving to. It's just that the person needs it more than you do at the time. Right? So we must understand that just one small act of kindness can go a long, long way, make a difference in the lives of others. So be mindful, be kind, and be kind to yourself, but be kind to others as well. It is not cool to be driving down the road or walking by people and look at them and turn around because you don't like how they look, because they might look a little bit dirty, they might look a little bit. There's a reason why. Mm-hmm. So don't use that as your excuse not to give, because that is not kindness. All right, so that's my piece. You don't need to have a lot to give. There are times when you can have less than the person you're giving to, and it's okay to do that. That's what they call charitable giving. You're giving without any expectations and not wanting anything back. So practice that type of giving, charitable giving, with no expectations, nothing back in return. Now, I must say that, Professor, that's my name for you now. Professor,
I'll take it.
It's a respect. It's you earned it. So Professor Latoya, we truly appreciate you coming on again a second time, and for you sharing with us. You're doing so much, and what the good thing about what you're doing, it's not that you're doing a lot, but it's impactful, it's meaningful. All the things that you're doing, the things you're doing with those books that you're writing, what we've learned over time is that there's only so much you can do with those who are already going through the gate. But when you start at an early age, to impart the right kind of knowledge, and not enough kids are reading as they should. So when you start to get them to start reading, get into the habit of reading at an early age, you can move mountains, or you're help to form a generation that who's going to be leading this world. So it's a big deal that you're doing with those books. So keep writing them. Don't let the third one be the last one, by the way. Even not because you're going back home to Africa. Don't let it end there. Don't let it end there. Continue writing those books, and continue to do what you're doing with partnering with nonprofit organizations, and give it to students or the kids in underserved communities. That's a big deal. That's what we believe here at A Collision with Purpose. We're into the scholarship business. We're into giving back to underserved communities and just lifting and empowering people who need it. Right, Donna? That's what we do. All right. So not much more for me to say other than, Donna, can you take us home?
Sure. Yes, I would definitely like to say, Professor Latoya Stephenson-Smith, we do thank you for being here with us, your second time with us. And of course, as you continue with all your wonderful projects, we extend our invite for you to come back again and share with us all the wonderful work that you're doing, and keep on doing what you're doing. We're very proud of you. To our audience, we thank you for joining us this Monday evening. We do not take your time for granted. We are very grateful that you've spent your Monday evening with us. Like Doc said, tomorrow is election day. If you have not voted, please go out there and cast your vote. If you don't vote, your voice is not going to be heard. So you want to make sure you go out and you let your voices be heard, whatever you may vote for. Also, do have a wonderful week. Have a safe week. Like Dr. Stevenson said, kindness, being kind, it doesn't cost you to be kind to someone. So go out there, be kind to someone, be mindful how you're using your time, and value the people that's around you. And have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week.
Professor, can you stand by while we
Dr. Laxley leading the way, won't be it. Dr. Laxley, all gonna tales to tell unearthing secrets where the truth dwells. Daily insights with Dr. Stephenson-Smith. Navigating the depths of wisdom's maze. Knowledge unfolds in its embrace. We stay with Dr. Laxley leading the way. Through the annals of time.